What's an unexpectedly well-paid job? UPS drivers can make close to $100K if you stay there long enough. Blew me away when I first heard that. I was a bathroom attendant in a fancy restaurant. Made hundreds of dollars a night, in cash, to do next to nothing. Well, they don't do nothing, their purpose seems to be to make the bathroom experience half as convenient, and 1000% more awkward. And they always succeed. If you have a strong stomach, cleaning up death and crime scenes pays very well, and requires little education. I have a friend who did this. It definitely paid well, but he talked about some of the things he saw, and I don't know if I could do it myself. Mobile crane operator, union guys pull over $200K, and it's a trade that's pretty easy on the body. Operating engineers have a surprisingly high occurrence of back, neck, and wrist injuries. They do make a ton of money though. Utility lineman. There is a developing shortage nationwide, due to baby boom retirements. It's well-paid base, but the overtime is fabulous. I have a couple friends who got into this after they left the military. They all make well over $100K. Storm seasons bring in tons of overtime. They're all in their mid to late 20s buying houses. Airline dispatcher. A girl I dated many years ago I met because she was living in my town training to be an airline dispatcher. There are just a handful of schools that teach it. I had no idea what an airline dispatcher was, let alone how much money they get paid. Dispatchers at FedEx can make $150,000 per year or more. It also gives you a lot of options to advance at an airline, like being station chief at an airline. The girl I dated had a dream to one day be Air France station chief in Tahiti. I don't know if she made it or not. There is a job in my country called chicken sexer. You're paid something like 10k euros per mission to touch newborn chicks and determine their sex. The ones near me must be really bad at their job, because they seem to have a 50% success rate when we buy chicks. So we may as well leave it up to chance. Court reporting. Stenography is a tough skill to learn, but plenty of court reporters earn over $100,000. And no college degree required, although most CRs will need to be certified. I'm currently in court reporting school, and holy shit, it is hard, but I enjoy it. I should be finished later this year, and I can't wait to start working. There's a shortage of them, too. I work as the videographer, and they're like magicians. Not many people finish the school for it, though, and most of it is online now. The downsides though, they are 99% of the time not employees, so they have to supply their own insurance, pay their own transportation fees, and buy their own machines, which are expensive. They do make a lot of money though. I think it evens out for sure. Ditch digger. Actually, directional boring. Guy I know was literally a ditch digger, but got into this by renting the specialized equipment just at the right time and right place. Fiber optic build out in the 1990s. He will also say that he made it simply by being reliable and trustworthy. I do not know exactly how much he makes, but he is an 80-foot sport fisherman, probably costs $7 to $10 million, and he bought a $4 million property on a whim. TBH, if you actually show up to a job site as a contractor and do a decent job, you are better than 90% of them. I swear, half the time they will take a job and only show up to work when they run out of beer money. And let's not even get into quality of the work. Underwater welding pays a tremendous amount. The only one I know personally retired comfortably in his 40s. Given how dangerous underwater welding is, I'd say the pay isn't surprising at all. Self-employed cleaning services. I don't know exactly what to call it. My parents started getting paid $35 an hour, cleaning a community center, to $50 from cleaning offices. My mom started it, then my dad joined in to help her with the hours and taking care of the house and kids. Eventually my mom got good contacts and started cleaning the offices of managers from factories, Sacramento politicians, and stuff alike. Can't express how proud I am of my mom. She turned all those shitty Hispanic cleaning lady jokes into something brag-worthy. I work at home as a closed captioner broadcaster for the news. I make my own schedule and make between $35 to $65 per hour, depending on the job. Large investment to get started, but significantly worth the payout. What qualifications does your job require? Very interesting. You have to go through a course. The course is $800 per month, and you work at your own pace. I worked while I did it at my main job, so it took me about 7 months to complete. Most people are between 6 and 9 months though. Between the course and all the equipment, it's about a $10,000 investment to start, but very much worth it, and you make the investment back quickly. Scrum Masters in software development industry. They are paid six figures for basically setting up meetings and being cheerleaders. They don't have any responsibility for delivery of work and they don't have any work beyond what I described. Update: I am talking about a dedicated Scrum Master, who does absolutely nothing else but be a Scrum Master. Update 2, I agree with you when you say you hate that this position exists as an individual entity and do believe that having one person just do this is wasteful. Update 3, I am specifically referring to Scrum Masters. Project managers and engineering managers and POs are not included in this. I drive machinery in a coal mine in Australia. I make about $170K. Even our new trainees are paid pretty well, about $48 per hour. I think it ends up being close to $90 to $100K. Easy money for sitting on your arse in an air-conditioned cab. Power lineman, make bank. Not a lot of people even know about it. Insanely dangerous job though. 2 linemen died in our small town because some person/family didn't shut their breaker off when they hooked up their generator while they were working on it. Electricity is effing terrifying, and sometimes even the smallest things missed can have major consequences. Edit, rephrased a sentence to better say what I meant, but just for clarity, the situation was during a natural disaster and sleep depravity was almost definitely the root cause of the deaths. Linemen were working and barely sleeping for a week straight before backup could come. But the lack of sleep in itself is a major danger, as is the weather they sometimes work in, or the electricity itself. Linemen take safety seriously, but one thing going wrong can end in disaster, even something as simple as flipping a wrong switch or forgetting a single piece of safety equipment. But as far as things go, electricity is probably one of the last things on earth you want any accident with. Plumbers, they can charge $100 an hour easy, because people are stupid about regular things. You don't pay them to bang on the pipe, you pay them to know where to bang on the pipe. It is a surprisingly well-paid job, but you're paying for their experience and they often deal with your shit. When I needed one, a while back, I was that annoying client who watched what he did and learned from it, so next time that happens, I won't need to call. Technical writing. If you have the ability to take complex technical information and simplify it, according to the reading audience, you can make well over $100,000 annually. People ridicule English degrees until they find out how much can be earned as a technical writer. Hot dog vendors can earn six figures in a year. Buddy of mine went to Hopkins back in the day and noticed that the lacrosse games, while well attended, had no vendors. Nobody seemed to want the job, so he asked if he could. Year later, he had all his friends bagging hot dogs the night before and was buying drinks and chips by the truckload. Sold everything for $1, came home after every game with trash bags full of dollars. Year or so later, the school realized what a cash cow it was, and took over the gig, but my buddy had pretty much paid for school by then. Autopsy Tech. I started out making $15 an hour in Illinois. Just need a high school diploma and the ability to not puke at the sight of blood and guts. I loved the job, only left because I needed surgery on my knee. I'd totally still be doing that if I lived in a town with a morgue now, but I live in the Alaskan bush. Anybody needing an autopsy just gets sent to Anchorage. Addendum, to everyone bitching about $15 an hour being nothing, this was in 2009. Yeah, it probably isn't enough to have a family on, but I was a 19-year-old, and it was my first job. I don't know if surprising, but one people don't think about. Selling ad space on local broadcast stations. I do it, and make more than most families do in my area, and I'm at smaller market. Going into a medium one can put you well into six figures. I work as a lunch lady. I get school vacations off, summers off, and weekends. No nights, or even really afternoons. It's amazing. I also get benefits, and every year I get a raise, so between the money and the time off, the job is 100% worth it. Dog groomer. It's a weird industry, though, and a skill that really has to be learned hands-on. Grooming schools can be a good start, but I know great groomers that never went to school for it, and terrible groomers that spent thousands on classes. Just being good at handling dogs is the best foundation for success. It's not the easiest job in the world. It's largely commission-based, and you're lucky if you get any benefits out of it. But if you get enough practice and to be good at it, and build up a loyal clientele base in a decently affluent area, it's good money. The haircuts I do range from $70 to $175, and I'm paid 50%, which averages out to around $30 to $35 an hour most days. Not everyone tips, but those that do, usually tip $5 to $20 per dog, and because I do about 40 dogs in an average week, that's an extra couple hundred in my pocket. So if you don't mind working on your feet all day, sustaining repetitive motion injuries, not taking lunch breaks, dealing with insane customers, and picking shit off dog buttholes, it's a good living. CBP officer, at least at the northern border, and airports. You sit in a booth, and ask the same questions over and over again. Now and then you may end up referring someone to secondary, based on suspicions, but another officer takes over at that point and you go back to your normal duties. Despite the job being law enforcement, it's incredibly safe, especially in airports, where you're already shielded by multiple layers of security. I've heard they can make $130K plus benefits, after just a few years on the job. No college degree needed. Have a friend that used to be CBP, apparently pay is excellent, with performance bonuses, good luck getting those in a good chunk of public sector jobs, and cost of living increases every year, with excellent benefits on top of it. If you are from a less developed country, which has little parking, and could not attend school, you can become a guard for cars set up in a large area of about 20 cars, and charge $1 per car. Sometimes they can give you up to $4 a car, and this is every 30 minutes, for about 12 hours, which would give you about $500 to $1,000 for a day, of doing basically nothing. Truckers, and no, not the cross-country truckers, which are kinda almost a minority. The drivers I'm talking about, are the ones, who are delivering to restaurants and whatnot. You can make $60,000 to $100,000 a year, easily. But now that you think about it, yeah, this would expectedly pay well, because imagine if all trucks stopped moving for one day. Edit, I obviously meant $60,000 not $60, edited, because of a smartass. Happened in the Italian region of Lazio, for 6 days in 2006, 3 days in, all stores and gas stations were closed down. The government had to send trains, full of gasoline and supplies, to meet with police, firefighters and ambulances at train stations to resupply. My little town fared well, because we have a lot of personal agriculture, but cities were a huge shit show. School bus drivers. My grandfather was a school bus driver, and he says, it pays surprisingly well. All you are doing, is sitting on your ass, driving around, and you get paid $30 an hour. However, you still have to clean the kids' slimy disgustingness afterwards. Did you know people put gutters on their houses to catch the rain as it falls off the roof? I didn't either, until a guy walked up to me and handed me a job doing it. Turns out making $300 to $600 a day is an everyday thing, doing it piece rate in Florida. San Francisco Poop Patrol. A 10-person team. All they do is go around the city and clean up human feces, which is apparently a problem there. They make about $80,000 a year, plus pensions and benefits, which bring the total to about $150,000. Not even kidding. Let's go scoop poop. Bartending. Some people know, but the overwhelming majority don't. If I only worked 20 hours, 2 days a week this year, weekends, I would make close to $50,000. If I really tried and worked 2 solid jobs 5 days a week, I would easily hit close to, if not over, $100,000. This doesn't apply to every bar or bartender. You're not going to make this type of money at an Applebee's, or a super franchised corporate establishment. So true. I have a good friend that bartends in this Spanish club in Miami, and he said, if he decided to work 4 days a week, instead of working 1 to 2 days a week, he could probably make $100K a year. Working in logistics, warehouse, purchasing supplies, etc. I have been doing this for 8 years, and have a master's degree in supply chain. It's super easy to me. All you really need to do is pay attention. Plus, it's great money. I don't know, I work in manufacturing, and every logistics person I've ever met seemed pissed off and stressed as hell, all the time. And a lot of the shit was out of their hands, like ships or trucks arriving late, or weather-related issues. Document specialist for utilities. Basically you have to know someone to get into it, but I went from making less than $40K as an office admin, to $120K as a doc specialist. No college requirement, often people just get their spouses or siblings on, because they've worked in an office before. As a general rule, this is terrible for anyone who actually knows what they're doing in the job, but, like, whatever. A lot of times I'm just getting paid to hold down a desk. Sales. My last sales job I was selling flooring. It took me about an hour to an hour and a half, measuring each room and hallway. Talk with the homeowner to know what they want. We offered financing for everyone. All my leads were red hot, so everyone I was scheduled to meet with was ready to buy that day. Each sale was $5,000 and up. I had sales of over $20,000 and my commission check was anywhere from 5 to 25% of that sale. I even had up to 5 scheduled appointments a day. I have had days where I made 3 sales, with an average commission of $500 each. I'm a pet sitter and I make pretty good cash from it, during the busy times, summer and holidays, for very little effort, in some cases. I've been doing it for a few years now, and after busting my ass and whoring my time out to clients and their critters, I've built a great client base and can relax a bit now. Of course I work a full-time job too. Pet sitting isn't steady enough to rely on, but I can make an extra $500 to $600 a month, when it's busy. It gets hectic figuring out the timing between the 2 jobs sometimes, but it's so worth it. I'm currently pet sitting for a week, $245 to hang out with 2 adorable dogs, eat their food, drink the wine they bought me, and relax. I love what I do. There is this job that was really popular with high schoolers during the summer where I grew up, where the city hired you to just hang out at the river and pick up trash and keep watch for shenanigans. It was a really simple job and mostly the kids treated it like a party, but actually picked up after themselves for a change. At the time minimum wage was like $10, $12 an hour. That job paid $18, I think. Granted it was a summer job and part-time, but still good pay, to F around at the river all day with your friends. I'm a gardener. There's a serious lack of folks willing to do manual labor in the outdoors year-round. Most commercial properties have to maintain a certain amount of green area in our city. Hospitals and other places like that need legitimate crews to do the work with professionalism, no catcalling or spitting or swearing etc., including bonded employees, and good insurance and equipment etc. As a result we are in demand, and we get paid surprisingly well. No university education needed, low barrier to entry, great pay, and job security. Every one of the top comments requires some sort of training, but here it is, washing cars. Can you hold a sponge? You're hired. You get on in an upper-class suburb, you can make $50K a year easy. All the OT you can take, and that $50K is before tips, which can be quite generous, if you work hard, and are at least semi-personable. The year I got out of high school, I picked up a job at a private country club, working the bag room. When I spotted a member, I'd grab their reserved/private cart from the garage and load their clubs on it, that they kept stored in the bag room. Couple damp towels hung on the back, pencils, scorecards and everything, waiting by the time they stepped up. Place was primarily executives and whatnot for like the major automotive companies, here in Michigan. I made a couple hundred each day in tips. During a couple tournaments that took place, I went home with around $500 in my pocket. I took home so much each day that I kept forgetting to pick up my paycheck, which was something like another $400 each week, late 90s minimum wage. Only part of the job I hated was using the picker to get the balls off the range. There was always some ass-bag trying to use me for target practice. I have been a glorified engineering CAD draftsman/designer for decades. After the second year on my own, I was clearing, after expenses and tax, $110,000 a year with some OT. With lots of OT, $130,000 was normal. Now I work 16 hours a week by choice, got tired of working for lots of clients, and make $65K/year. Been working for myself since 1996. The one I have now, I pull chain at the local timber mill. You know how you go down to the hardware store, and they have those big stacks of lumber, all nice and wrapped up in plastic? Well, basically finished lumber comes down a big conveyor belt made out of chain, and you pull it off and stack it, as fast as you can, before the finished stacks, bunks in industry terms, are sent to wrapping. So, what do you get for essentially picking something up and moving it 4 feet all day? $20 an hour, full health coverage, a 401k, with company contribution matching up to 5%, 2 weeks paid vacation a year, and profit sharing, 2.5% of total annual salary per year. Plus production quota bonuses and whatnot. I mean, yeah, you ain't gonna get rich, but for an entry-level position, Performing manual labor, $20 an hour is incredible pay. Also you get totally yoked. Every chain puller is built like Atlas, and freakishly strong, after a while working there. I am a registered nurse. The days of making good money are gone for most, thanks to the baby boomers. However, one specialty still pays well: acute, in-hospital, dialysis nursing. I make more than the chief nursing officer CNO, working an average of 48.5/week. Also, I only work 4 days a week, my phone never rings on my days off, and I never take work home. No call bells to answer, no taking 6 to 7 patients at a time, just one at a time with dialysis nursing. How much does this equate to? $155,000. Sign language interpreters, you can make $30 or more an hour, depending on your client and education. We pay our interpreters $35 per hour, port to port, with mileage and tolls. They get 1.5x for assignments after 5 p.m. or on the weekends. If a gig cancels with less than 24 hours notice, the terp still gets paid. Most of our freelancers also pick up side work at Sorensen or Purple. ASL is very marketable. Dactyl signing for deafblind gets you an extra $5 per hour. For long assignments, we hire a team so half the time the interpreter is just sitting there, 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. Go learn ASL, and get certified. My friend's uncle drives trucks for a few TV shows and brings in over $200,000 during filming season only. He literally just picks up trailers and shit, drives them to scene, then chills during filming, then drives them back at the end of the day. Occasionally has to work weird and long hours, but he gets extra compensation for those times. And he gets fed 2 meals a day while working. And he gets to hang out with celebrities. I'm an instrumentation and controls technician for a utility company in Georgia. I'm 23, just bought a house and make plenty of money. It only requires a 2-year degree, and is in shortage, because of the baby boomers retiring. It's mostly troubleshooting and repairing control systems in industrial facilities and transmitters that read process measurements, temp, flow, pressure,